after.
Yeah, dude, they're
rolling on video. Super expensive.
Yeah, like $300 a pair.
Oh my god. Well, hold on. Rolling on video still. Turn off the click track. Now we're rolling on audio. Clap. Nice, second clap.
Oh, right. So, technical difficulties aside.
Yeah. Third time lucky, as they say.
Is it though?
Oh, we're gonna find out.
Right now with the headphones on and feeling the table physically what's going on.
Yes. But that's because we have boiling hot water
Boiling water.
for our kafafa. Or kofifi.
Yeah, man, we're practicing sobriety nowadays.
We are practicing. It's kind of like a Catholic practices.
Well,
Like they go to church on Easter.
say your Hail Marys.
Yeah.
Pay a little bit of money.
Get your
Right
fire
back on the
insurance.
good side.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I always say they have the best religion.
Catholics are funny, man. I admire the orthodoxy of it the more I start to understand it, though.
We gotta leave it at that. We can't talk about religion.
That's fine.
That being said, I did watch a funny video earlier. And it was Ken Ham and Bill Nye.
Okay.
And they were walking around the Noah Ark Museum.
Oh yeah, that's a
funny video.
That's a whole rabbit hole.
Yeah.
The whole museum. You know.
I didn't realize it was $100 million museum.
Yeah, they got a lot of funding.
That's crazy.
Well, they found a lot of Christians that wanted to pile money into a theme park, effectively.
Yeah. Bill Nye was like, I heard this is a $100 million place, and he's like, yeah, it is. He's like, couldn't think of a better use for $100 million, huh?
You know, world hunger is still an issue.
I was like, that's a good stab.
You know,
That's a good one. Oh.
If more people were focused on ministry, things like this wouldn't happen. It's all good. It's my favorite sound in the morning.
It really just sounds like pee.
It really sounds like, through the microphone especially, it sounds like piss. It is raining outside, so it's actually kind of a nice...
Dude, I love tornadoes. Terrified of tornadoes, though.
Really?
Yeah, Grace makes fun of me because, like, I love heavy thunderstorms.
Yeah, me
but
too.
I only love heavy thunderstorms up until there's question of tornado.
And then you're like, nope!
I get uncomfortable.
What is your plan for
a tornado?
Yeah, for tornado occurrences. Why am I stupid?
Dude, you are spilling shit everywhere, bro. I'm just gonna move everything out of your way. Thank God I sealed this table.
Yeah.
Oh God. What did I do?
This is why you build the things. Please.
No, fuck you.
So this is our second pot of coffee. The first one we were talking about how it looks like cake on the top when you do a pour over like this. Like, it looks yummy, but you know that it's not. Like,
yeah, you know it's grainy.
Yeah.
But it does look like cake whenever all the water is gone and then it's just the wet.
You know what it makes me think
coffee
of?
grounds cake.
Well, yeah, that makes me think of cake, but like an analog to that would be like a poison dart frog. Because they look like they'd be fun little pets.
Oh, okay.
You can't do that.
Well, bobcats, you know.
Yeah!
I used to want a pet bobcat. Love bobcats. But realistically, do I need a pet bobcat? Probably not. Is there a chance that pet bobcat's going to get pissed off at me and try to fuck me up? Likely.
I always tell Poem that I want a tiger at some point.
Or a lynx.
Lynxes are cool.
Yeah, dude.
Well, you know what the best alternative for those, or like a big cat like that as a pet would be?
Bengal cat.
Yes! Bengals are perfect.
Yeah, so
they're really cool.
My mom almost got a Bengal cat recently, but instead she got a Sphinx cat.
Which is
she got an elf
awesome.
breed Sphinx cat.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I heard that you might be getting one of those.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot we talked about that a little bit. Yeah, so
a little tiny bit.
He's 7 months old. And the breeder was like, by no means do you have to do this, but
once you want to help your brother out.
But once he's a year old, we really wanted wanted to use him as a stud.
Yeah.
And we would give you a free kitten. So my mom was like, if I end up doing it, do you want the kitten? And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, absolutely, I do.
About the coolest thing that you could possibly get for free.
Yeah, I've wanted a Sphinx cat for a little while. They're just so
really?
Yeah, they're just so damn expensive.
They're expensive. So are Maine Coons if you get them from like a reputable source.
Maine Coons are cool though.
Super cool.
Yeah, I used to know. Well, I still know Alex.
Yeah.
So Alex used to have a Maine Coon.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
It's a pretty cool cat.
Yeah, I grew up. My buddy Dylan had a Maine Coon. He was really cool, outdoor cat, but huge and very cool.
Yeah, he was a hunter, man.
Yeah.
My cat was
sure.
Savage.
Dog-sized cats are like
yeah, savage.
See, that's the thing. I don't know that I'll have a dog anytime in the near future, so I kind of want like a dog-sized cat, although I love Duchess, my current cat. She's the best. So, definitely not rushing it, but at a point, I would really like to have...
Dude, if we're going to start doing coffee...
Yeah.
We need, like...
Old setup for
like some croissants.
Oh, that's a good idea!
Like some biscotti or something.
Yeah, we don't ever snack on the podcast.
It's a lot. You can't have anything crunchy.
Well,
these mics are too good, dude.
That's
not like
true.
humble brag. Like they're too good. They pick up on everything.
They do.
You just hear. Yeah. So
we're not gonna sit here and eat Cheez-Its on the podcast.
Yeah.
We get a
little biscotti though.
Little biscotti though.
That's crunchy.
Well, it's crunchy until a point.
You dip it into the coffee.
That would, yeah. Then you get a nice little slurp action. we could go for a nice prosciutto or a gabagool spread.
God, I fucking love some prosciutto.
Dude.
I was eating some earlier, bro.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was so good, dude. It was my grandfather's 96th birthday today.
Wow.
Yeah, Papa Tanner. It was his 96th
Tanner's
birthday,
so
so yeah, we were up there. We were up at my uncle's house, and it was also his girlfriend's birthday today.
Oh wow.
So yeah, they had like prosciutto and cheeses, corn,
my kind of
hot dogs,
my kind of shindig,
hamburgers.
Although, you know what I've been craving recently?
There was even hummus there.
I love hummus.
I know you do.
But...
You little olive-eating bastard.
Yeah. I can't have hummus anymore.
Why?
I developed a chickpea allergy.
Buddy, I'm going to take your Mediterranean card from
I
you.
know.
You can't have chickpeas?
I break out in hives head to toe. Never been a problem in my life.
When did this start?
Like December of last year.
It's not real. Just don't believe in it. Dude, there's no way. What is there?
I cannot believe it until I'm in the hospital because...
Did you have to go to the hospital from it?
I had to get on the phone with the teledoc and get an EpiPen shipped to Publix so that I could go pick it up.
Dude, good video idea.
Terrible day. Oh yeah, let's try and kill me with chickpeas.
No. Good video idea though.
Good video idea. Let's see how many chickpeas it takes.
You in front of me. That's what I was thinking, dude.
Until I look like Will Smith in Hitch.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll have the EpiPen right there. No, I'll keep a close eye on you. But as long as we have the EpiPen, there's no risk of you dying.
True.
Right, so it's good content. We'll put a can of chickpeas in front of you, and we'll see how many it takes, and then we'll know for sure.
Is it bad that I actually would do this?
Dude, if we were big enough to have insurance, if we were big enough to have insurance,
oh, in a heartbeat, I wouldn't care.
Right.
I've been in the hospital for allergic reactions so many times.
As long as the EpiPen's there's no chance of dying.
No. Not that I necessarily think I would die anyway. It's not like a peanut allergy.
That's what I was going to say. It's not like I'm trying to get you to lick peanut butter. Like, how many licks does it take to close your throat?
Which, good video idea.
Yeah.
But I'm not allergic to peanuts.
I love peanuts,
dude. I don't know if I could live
without peanut butter. Yeah.
That is like...
There's people out there that just
don't like peanut butter.
Well, you can't have it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel horrible.
You can never have a Reese's.
I used to work with a guy like that. His name was Jackson Climb, and he's a great dude. But man, it was really annoying because the company would always buy us peanut snacks, and keep them in the break room. And
Yeah.
it was
good protein. It's like a good little energy boost.
Right, but it was so annoying because he was our retail manager. So he would, like, always be there, and you couldn't eat any of the snacks that we got if he was there.
He's that allergic?
Yeah, like, we could stand, like, across the counter and eat them, but you couldn't, like, leave the wrapper out and stuff like that.
Because if he touches it.
Yes.
Holy shit, dude. Could you imagine being the type of person, and, like, I'm sorry for all the peanut allergic people, but,
Yes.
like, buddy, if I can, like, realistically rob you with a peanut butter jelly sandwich, like, that's a sad life, dude.
It is a
If I'm
sad
like, give me your
life.
money, or I'm gonna frisbee this sandwich at you.
And they're just, like, a slow zombie trying to, like,
Dude.
attack back. And
You get a handful of, like, PB Fit, like, powdered peanut butter, and you're like, dude, I will blow this in your face if you don't.
That's probably, like, disturbingly dangerous for those people. Because that's, like...
it gets airborne,
That's
dude.
what I was going to say. Yeah, they probably breathe that in and it's stuck in their lungs forever. That's dangerous.
Dude,
Fuck.
I've never thought about this. That is crazy.
Well, they definitely couldn't do, like, a food processing, like, factory job.
No.
Like, that's just off the table.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's a difficult life to live. You gotta lead your life knowing that a nut can take you down at any moment.
Listen,
Which I guess is
it's
how
not-
women feel.
I was gonna say, it's not the first time the nuts change somebody's life forever.
Oh my god, I saw an Instagram reel the other day. This dude got offered to buy anything in a mall. Like, it was one of those, like, videos where someone just comes up to you and is like,
Yeah.
if you answer these questions, I'll let you buy anything in the mall. And dude answered all the questions, and he was like, we actually came to the mall to get something, and I'm gonna need that. And he just went over to the CVS that was in the mall and bought a Plan B. that was what he wanted.
Really? That was it?
And he brought it back to his girlfriend, and he was like, hey, we don't have to pay for this now. And she opened it, and she was like, oh, I forgot we needed that. Thanks, I guess. And he was just like, what? But it was funny, too, because he, like, bought a pretzel for himself, like, before he bought the Plan B.
Nice.
So he's, like, eating his pretzel and just, like, hands her the Plan B. And she was like, okay, so I didn't get a pretzel, and you just bought me a Plan B. Like, you don't care at all.
Man. Yeah, I just feel like I would have used that opportunity differently, you know? I would have splurged
Agreed.
the $50 out of pocket, and I would have got, like, a $6,000 TV.
Yes.
And then sold the TV if I needed the money, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, if you were, like, if you're, like, in that position where you're
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm just gonna use that money for the Plan B instead of
Yeah.
in my pocket. Like, you must be hurting.
That's what I'm saying, like... Well, it's weird, too, because it was just, like... He didn't look like he was that bad off, but, you know...
Yeah,
You never can
it's
tell
Instagram,
someone's financial
yeah.
situation.
Fake it till you make it.
True. I play that game a lot, though. I look at people that look like they're, like, more well-off than me, and I'm like, I wonder what it would be like if I just, like, transferred all of the money that they have into my bank account. Like, would I actually come up that much, or would it be, like, underwhelming compared to what I imagine this person to have?
Probably the latter.
Probably underwhelming.
Well, especially if they're California-based, because, I mean, there's a lot of...
I just mean, like, people that come out of the grocery store and stuff.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was gonna say, social media-wise, there's a lot of, like, you know, you can rent this place.
Oh, there's so much
Like,
of that.
the rent a jet, like,
Yeah.
you're not even on the jet. It's, like, literally a studio.
Yeah, it's just like a soundstage with like an old non-functional jet that they've like painted to look nice.
Yeah,
and
and so
just
then
go
they,
take
like, go,
pictures with
yeah,
it.
they go take pictures with it or take pictures inside of it. And it's just
Yeah.
like, boy.
It's funny actually. Mr. Top G was talking about
Mr.
he was talking about that happening like when he got out of jail. He was like, yeah, so like I got out and I realized that someone was like taking a picture with my car and like leaning on my car. So Tristan and I just like jumped him because like it's my property.
What the fuck?
I was just like, dang, he still got that dog in him.
I guess. Angry.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Angry, dude. Speaking of got the dog in him.
yo. Who got the dog
Speaking
in
of
him?
Instagram,
Oh boy.
I saw the trailer for the new Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah!
It looks pretty good, man.
It does.
I'm super excited. So, like, from what I put together, I guess it's just like, because it's essentially a prequel.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's
Oh,
like
it's the
President Snow.
First Hunger Games that was televised. I think it's the third Hunger Games.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
Okay.
Because we watched, like, the extended trailer, me and Poem,
Yeah.
on YouTube, and there was, like, a little bit more detail given. But, yeah, they did make, like, a very specific note, because, like, what's his name?
I think you're right. I think it is the first televised.
Who is Wes Anderson's, dude that he uses all the time? He was the star in Rushmore. He was the lead in Rushmore. A funny Jewish guy. He's like always that character.
Funny Jewish guy?
Yeah.
Is he in Meet the Fockers? Is it that guy?
No, he's in Royal Tenenbaums, though.
You're naming movies that I have no idea.
It's Schwartzman. Something Schwartzman.
Anthony Schwartzman?
No.
Randall Schwartzman?
Hold on, I'll look it up.
Bethany Schwartzman?
Because he plays...
Oh, you're talking about younger guy? He was in Parks and Rec?
No, that's... No, but they were in a movie together. Where the guy I'm talking about had, like, a massive dick and, like, only drew, like, pictures of buttholes, and that was, like, how he made his money, and then the other guy is, like, a micro penis, and, like, that's kind of what the whole movie is about. It's, like, they wife swap because each other's partners are more into the other person.
Dude, what kind of
Like,
shit do you watch?
It's a comedy. Yeah, that's a weird one. It was not a very good movie. But yeah, it was weird. It was about like California, or people who moved to California, and that they just meet up with Jason Schwartzman. That's his name.
Okay.
This guy. You know,
Oh!
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So Jason Schwartzman is the...
Well endowed?
Well, he was in that movie anyway. But it was a prosthetic. They were on Jimmy Kimmel talking about that.
Okay.
But in the Hunger Games, he plays the announcer guy, like a much younger version of the...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he talks about how it's the first televised Hunger Games, like in the trailer.
I'm super excited, man. So when I first watched it...
The trailer?
Yeah, when I first saw the trailer, I think Mikey was asleep on me.
Yes.
So I couldn't turn the sound up. So I couldn't hear it.
Mikey being your son, not your lover.
Yeah, Mikey being my son.
Yeah.
So I couldn't hear it, and just from seeing the actors, at first, I thought it was going to be, was it the third? No. Which Hunger Games was it, where...
No way I'm going to remember.
Well, okay, so do you remember the last or the second to last Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1?
Yeah.
It was the swimmer guy and the girl.
Yeah.
His love interest.
Yeah.
I can't remember their names now.
I can't either.
I thought it was going to be their love story. Like
more...
Yeah, like the dude who... I guess the guy who plays a young President Snow looks a lot like the actor. The actor just reminded me of him. But then Grace and I watched the trailer together and we realized what was actually going on.
Yeah.
And it's going to be good, dude. It's like a villain's origin story because President Snow's the bad guy, and it really shows why he's the bad guy. Granted, from the trailer, like, you got to imagine, because it has the flashback. It has his voiceover, and it says something along. It's his quote where it says something along the lines of like, you know, having your heart broken. And
I think it'll probably talk about his wife that died and stuff like that more.
She's gonna get clapped.
Yeah, it's gonna be like the forget what his name is, but the guy who runs Scientology, his wife.
Yeah.
No one's seen her in like 10, 15 years.
She's alive.
No.
She's alive.
Her and Xenu are having a good time together. I don't give a fuck. I can scrap with any member of Scientology, Tom Cruise included.
Bro, I don't know about that.
Show him my boot heel.
I don't know about that.
Come
you
on.
think you can take Tom Cruise in a fight?
Yes, I can take Tom Cruise in a fight.
You are out of your fucking mind. Are you serious?
He does play fighting.
Bro, yes, to a degree, but he's still trained. Like, it's still real training.
He can run faster than me, that might be it.
Dude, anybody who has the balls to do his own stunts, to the gravity of his own stunts, it's not just jumping out of a 10-story building onto like a blow-up mat. This motherfucker is backflipping dirt bikes off of the Grand Canyon and shit.
Yeah.
He would fuck you up, bro. You think you could beat up Tom Cruise? Do you think you could beat up Jake Paul in a fight?
No.
Thank you for at least answering no to that.
I
don't even like Jake Paul.
He's got some height, and he trains like a boxer.
Yeah.
He knows how to get hit. Yeah. I don't think Tom Cruise knows how to get hit. I think a couple of good
He's a stunt man.
But he's not trained in that way. Like, for instance,
you don't think out of all the fighting choreography that he's had to go through with Mission Impossible, all the hand-to-hand combat training. No, this is a serious thing, dude. I need to know how insane you are.
To be fair, I also think I could take a tiger.
Alright, so new video idea.
Red fights a tiger.
No, Tom Cruise.
It's fine. That's the second clap. This is going to be a fun one to edit.
Are you going to try to stitch all that in?
Oh, I'm going to be very blatant with the audience right now. We had a technical issue. So
for like the fourth time.
So instead of restarting the entire podcast for the fourth time, we're just going to continue on. So yes, I do think I think I could fight a tiger. But I really think the Tom Cruise I could take.
I think you're out of your fucking mind.
Well, let me give you some reasoning behind why I think that I could destroy Tom Cruise in a fight. There's two things. Height advantage, which I think people underestimate. Just because my tactic would be to get it to the ground. Because I know for a fact...
Well, on the ground, you're the same height.
I can overpower him on the ground.
Keep going.
So, my thought would be... Well, let's think of a scenario that's realistic. I feel like he would charge me.
You're at a bagel shop.
I'm at a bagel shop. Tom Cruise steals the last raisin bagel. And I'm really...
That's what teeters you.
That's it.
He gets the last bit of coffee, because it's a niche bagel shop.
It is.
It's like first come, first serve. When we run out, we're done for the day.
And then they just close up shop.
He gets the last coffee and the last raisin bagel.
And he's all smug about it, because he's like, Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a Tom.
He flashes his Scientology ring, and they're like, get the bagel.
Like he's the Green Lantern.
Yeah.
So Tom, I can't help but notice you just took the last bagel and the last drop of coffee.
And then he goes, I did!
You gonna apologize about that?
No.
You gonna buy me another bagel?
I'll buy you a fucking way out of here, buddy. I'm Tom Cruise.
Oh, so it's gonna be like that, huh?
What other way would it be?
Me putting my fist through your teeth.
You putting your fist in my teeth. I am Mission Impossible, pal.
Yeah, and you got a tiny dick.
Who's been talking to you?
Your
Zulu? Is that the guy's name?
Xenu. Xenu gave me some insider information, buddy. No, but seriously, I feel like he would charge first, because he has, like, he's got, like, the running calisthenic end of things.
Yeah.
But I think what I'm going to be able to bring to the table is my ability to take punches and just, like, be a wall that he can't get past. And then the other thing is I think that, you know, as soon as I am able to just sort of, like, get him on the jaw one good time, I think he's going to tumble. And as soon as he tumbles, that it's over. Because I'm just going to jump on his back, put him into a hold, and then it's either he's going to be out or he's going to be tapping.
Dude, what? Through the course of this show, I've learned not to underestimate you. But now I'm just curious, like, what training do you... Like, you're talking about putting him in holds and shit.
Well, okay, so I did karate for 3 years. Not that I think...
From 3 to 6.
Well, no. No, that was in high school. Karate is a bullshit martial art, though. I did some kendo training with my dad, who he did a lot of kendo. And we had swords and everything, like practice swords that we would really go at it with. A lot of it's just sparring, though. I did a lot of, like, sparring with, like, friends towards the end of high school, because I had a couple of buddies that were into martial arts. Most of them, though, just like did wrestling in high school. So I got really good at like competition wrestling, effectively.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's probably my strongest suit is like grappling in like an Olympic style, like, you know.
If for no other reason, I hope we get enough traction just so
for Tom Cruise to see this,
just so I can set up a celebrity fight.
Oh, I do that in a heartbeat.
Oh, I would too. Yeah,
it'd be so fun.
Yeah, it would.
I don't care. Even if Tom Cruise surprised me and rocked my ass,
think he's crazy enough to where you would hit him and he would just be like,
I'm Tom Cruise.
Yeah, he would just pop right back up.
Yeah, I can imagine. His stamina is fucking crazy because that man can hold his breath for 3 minutes underwater. Actually, I think it's 5 minutes underwater because he had to do that for a Mission Impossible movie. But
I'm trying to remember the actress that had to do that. No, I can't. But they were talking about how, once you figure out how to get past the mental part of it, physically it's not that hard. The hardest part is overcoming it mentally.
It's the freediving thing. Have you ever looked into freedivers? So there's a lot of great tutorials on how to do freediving on YouTube. They all say the same thing. If you hyperventilate before you go underwater and you trap a ton of air in your lungs, the carbon monoxide isn't dangerous until 10-15 minutes, something like that. Some of these guys can hold their breath for 20 minutes. But as long as you can hold your breath without blacking out, you can pretty much do it for an unlimited amount of time up until about the 20-30 minute mark. That's what the freedivers say. Because apparently, it's mental in the fact that if you can get past where your brain thinks it should shut itself off, you get really comfortable with it.
Yeah, because I've tried to hold my breath as long as possible, and you hit that point where you're I need to breathe right now, and you're only a minute and a half in.
Well, if you can just lower your heart rate and calm down before you start moving again, that'll pass. I've never tried it enough to do that. Although I will say, when I lived in Virginia, we had a 50-foot deep end at our local pool because we had a high dive there. It was connected to the local high school, and they had diving competitions. And when I was about 8, I could dive and get to the bottom and back up in one breath, no problem. 50 feet's long, though.
Yeah, 50 feet is long.
Especially, you get a lot of pressure in your head, too, when you go down that far.
I don't think I've been anywhere near 50 feet deep.
It's intense. I remember, thinking as a child,
I feel 20 is...
20 is...
the most I've been.
20's not great, either. I've done that in a lake before. 50 is obviously harder, but...
Fuck that, dude. I refuse to go swimming downward in a lake. Number one, I can't see shit.
No, you can't see anything.
So you're literally just swimming in a direction.
Well, to be fair,
downward.
The reason I did that was because we were diving off of a cliff, and I
thought you were swimming up, but you were swimming down.
Well, no, I dove trying to go as far down as I could. I very much so was just trying to keep my form in a way that I could go as deep as I wanted to. I think it was about 20 feet, because it took me a good... It's close to a minute to get back to the surface. I remember thinking it was
ooh, I might have fucked up.
Yeah,
I've been there.
It was 40-45 seconds before I even got close, which is a really long time underwater when you haven't prepped for it, because initially it was just I hit water, now I'm going down, now I want to see how far I can go. So I started kicking a little bit, just going down further and further, and then I was okay, probably should go back up. And I just remember forever just trying to get back to the surface and being okay, this has been far longer than I'm comfortable with. And eventually I hit the top and took a huge breath and was okay, that's good for today.
that makes me anxious here. That makes me nervous.
I used to dive a lot. That was something I really enjoyed doing. I haven't really had the opportunity to do it much recently, though.
I've had the feeling of almost drowning before, and it is not a pleasant experience.
No. Of course, I don't have any real-life experience with that, but I had a dream that I think almost killed me.
Yeah. Yeah?
Well, okay, I'll just tell the story. It'll be quick. I had a dream that I was drowning in a lake.
Uh-huh.
And I must have been like 12 or 13 at this point. And it was one of those dreams where you were just like convinced that it was reality. And I was like really, really tired. I don't think that I had like slept until like 4 a.m. or something the night before. So I was just like exhausted. And it was right after church on a Sunday. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go pass out for a while. And this dream was, everything was fine. I was just swimming in the lake, and I remember like the boat that I was trying to get to just kept getting further and further out. And it was almost like quicksand. Like the more I tried to get to the boat, the more I just started sinking into the water. And after a while, I just realized like I'm drowning. Like that's what this feels like. And then before I like died in my dream, woke up in real life, and I rolled over instinctively, and like a puddle of water fell out of my mouth, like saliva that had been like accumulating while I was dreaming. So my thought has always been that like my body effectively was like trying to reproduce the dream in reality and almost like endgamed me, like on accident.
Yeah, I was convinced for a while that I knew what it felt like to die because I had a dream where I was driving. It was the weirdest thing, the weirdest transition in my life. I was driving over the bridge of, it's not really a bridge, it's like an overpass. Over there on Old Fort Parkway, it goes over 24, and then
I know what you're talking
goes
about.
towards the Walmart and everything.
Yeah.
Well, I had a dream that I was going over that overpass and a semi-truck was coming at me.
That's fun.
And so, yeah, right at me. And so, I guess for some reason I like swerved left, drove off of the overpass, but when I drove off the overpass, it wasn't the interstate under me, it was this giant, like, cliff, I guess, and there was water underneath. But it's almost like I don't even know the word to use, there's gotta be a word. It was like, no, it was a giant circle of water, and then everything like around it was, no, not a whirlpool. It was like a legit, it was like the bottom of these cliffs was water, but then if you were in the water looking up, it would just be like a giant tunnel of like mountains or whatever. Like it's like
interesting.
It was like I fell into this cavern.
Sound like a cartoon or something.
It was messed up, dude.
Yeah.
I remember
Odd.
like being in the car and falling
like
into
impact.
that. Yeah, I remember the impact of it, but then I was just like at that point I wasn't even in my body, I was like watching it, and I was just like slowly floating down. But I remember like the feeling of this like immense amount of pressure on my entire body, and it literally felt as if my like soul or whatever was being separated from my physical body. And I've never felt anything like this in my life.
That's terrifying.
It felt as if I was being like pulled, like I don't know, man.
Yanked out of yourself?
Kind of.
That's weird.
So it was both simultaneously. It was this massive amount of pressure as if somebody was like pushing down on me, but then something was pulling me from behind as well.
Weird.
And then I woke up, and it was like, 3 o'clock in the morning, like it always is.
Of course.
So it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and it freaked me out enough to where I was like, okay, I'm gonna get out of bed, and I'm just gonna walk to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah.
And when I got out of bed, like my body was so heavy that like it was almost like I was controllably falling forward instead of walking. I was almost catching myself with every step, dude. It was crazy.
That's legitimately terrifying.
It was weird.
I would not want to be in that circumstance.
Well, I was doing it to myself a lot, I think, on accident. Is that the upload?
How did you know? Yeah, it's the upload
because it happened last Sunday too.
Yeah.
So it happened a couple of times because I'm kind of into weird shit, you know that. But for everybody else, for everybody else, I'm into like a lot of weird stuff, and so like a lot of spiritual stuff. I'm not religious, but I do have beliefs.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I can't. There's a lot of things that I'm interested in, but don't know if they're real, right?
Yeah.
So like astral projection for one. super fascinating thing to read about.
Yeah.
Very outlandish. Is it real? I don't know.
It's an odd concept.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the majority of me feels like it's not real, but then there's that small part of me that's like, I use the same logic for everything that I can't explain, or for everything that can't be proven or disproven. I use the same logic.
Yeah.
And I'm just an animal.
Yeah.
I don't know shit, man. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
You know? There's plenty of stories about it, even from like super old times, like or like shamans or like spirit trips, and like there's a lot of really weird stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The government even has files on it.
Yeah, that's
like old abandoned files. It was like a part of like MK Ultra.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
There was a lot of like remote viewing. You know what remote viewing is?
Yes.
Like, dude, there's so much weird stuff. Coffee might have been a bad idea because now I'm ramped up, dude. Now I'm up to here. I feel like I'm Jeff Goldblum.
There's a great TED Talk with a former MK Ultra agent who basically like talks about how much evidence there is for remote viewing.
Right.
I love that TED Talk
but if remote viewing is real, dude.
Yeah.
If that can be proven real, dude, it opens the possibility that fucking anything is possible.
Well, I don't know that that's necessarily true. It's basically been proven that it's true. I think that remote viewing is probably the most extrasensory like thing that we might have. I think a lot of it though is like your brain's ability to sort of like surmise things better than you can understand, because like we were talking about, like,
so you think it's almost like an extreme form of educated guessing?
Yes, because I think that it works the same way these dreams that we were talking about do, because like I've had full-on dreams where like I can taste things in my dream, or like I smoke weed in my dream and I'm like high literally in my dream and it feels identical, or like before I had done certain substances, I would have dreams about doing those substances, and it would feel like the substance when I actually tried it later. Those kinds of things, I'm like, well, maybe the brain just sort of like already has...
Kind of puts the pieces together.
That, or it's just like, it exists up here anyway.
What if we're just all connected consciously, or... this is all like some sort of, because your reality, they say like everybody perceives reality differently, so what if you're making it all up anyway in your head, like right now it could be made up.
Oh, and that might, I get what you're talking about. It's a little woo-woo, but
it's super woo-woo.
I think more so, especially with the remote viewing thing, it's just like if you're given a prompt and you're like told to basically try as hard as you can to like imagine that prompt, your brain is probably going to like autocorrect to the closest thing to reality. So you're going to end up sort of getting that, you're going to get better results trying to remote view than trying to move a spoon on a table.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, the idea of remote viewing and your brain working in a way that would make that possible makes way more sense than telekinesis or any of the other...
Well, telekinesis, but what about astral projection?
So...
that's where I get fucked up with it.
The astral projection is weird because it's not just a one thing. It's kind of like flat Earth. You never get flat Earthers without also linking it to like, you know, we're the center of the universe and God smiles upon us especially. Like the two things are always joined together. With the astral projection people, you always get the same kind of woo-woo stuff that goes alongside of it, which is generally like, oh, you have to listen to binaural beats at a certain frequency, and you have to remember a certain thing before you fall asleep, and it's really hard to do this one technique that like forces you into it. And it's like, okay, well, this is the same thing as being like, oh yeah, there's a dragon scroll on top of that mountain that teaches you how to like end a life by, you know, doing this at somebody. Which is, there's a, I forget what it's from, but there's a great joke about that in a movie, like a kung fu movie, and it's basically just like, oh yeah, the dragon scroll's up there, and like it's this whole mission to go get the dragon scroll, and he opens it, and it's just blank. And it's like, oh, well, the dragon scroll is whatever I come up with.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know, man. It's too hard for me to fully buy into, because I'm like, okay, come on. You have an out-of-body experience where you travel the spiritual plane. But what I will say is, I tried it for a long time.
Yeah.
What I will say is, I had some very strange experiences.
Yeah, but how different is that than just, like, tapping into what creates a dream?
Because that's what I was going to say, is I think it's more so the brain is powerful enough to, again, kind of like what you were saying, is just kind of, like, assume...
Yeah.
either what's supposed to happen or whatever. So I might have just put myself in a mental state to where. But I had like a lot of like that. What I told you, like the heavy body thing, that happened a lot when I was like trying the astral projection thing. It would be like, I'm like, it would be 10:30 at night. I'm laying in bed, and then out of nowhere, I would either just feel super panicky, and I would like have to like get up and like go splash water on my face because it would start to feel like I was dying, dude. It would start to like I would get like my body would be super heavy. I felt like I couldn't really move. I was very like lethargic, and I don't know if I was just in between sleep and awake or like what, but it happened like 4 or 5 times. You know, that's great. So she was there for all of it. Like it happened like 4 or 5 times, and finally I was like, "Fuck this! I'm not trying this."
Yeah. Well, you know him, Chad. Who I used to work with at a church, and he was my boss in that intern position. He started trying it for a while, and he quit because he wasn't able to wake himself up one time. Like he got stuck in it, and it became like.
So does he say that he did?
No.
Like successfully separated?
He like lucid dreamed.
Okay.
But he couldn't come out of the dream. And that really freaked him out.
That's
like he got really paranoid like in the dream. And
I have like an innate ability to be able to wake myself up from any dream.
That's nice.
I can just like, done. Yeah. I'm done with that one.
Power back on real quick.
I've had some scary fucking dreams where that's come in clutch.
Well, do you know what sleep paralysis is?
Yes.
Yeah, I get that more often than I care to admit.
Fuck, really?
Dude, there was a time in my life where it was happening like...
Every night?
No, but it would be like twice a month or like weekly. The problem for me with it though was, it seems to not be the case for everybody, but for me specifically, it seemed to be, I couldn't breathe when it happened. Like, that was always the problem. Because I felt like I was suffocating.
Did you have a demon? Did you have like did you like look over and see something?
But the shittiest part of it was that I could see where I was. Like, so for instance, one time it happened really bad, and this scared me really badly. I was on a road trip, and I fell asleep on a pillow that I had in my lap in front of me. And I could see, like, where the ridge of the pillow was, and I could see, like, the car window, but I could not move. And I knew that I had fallen asleep with my mouth facing into the pillow. And that was why I was, like, I could have been suffocating, I don't know, but I could not breathe in that situation. And I didn't wake up until my mom got back in the car and slammed the door enough for me to, like, jolt awake. Yeah. But it always took that kind of... One time, I fell asleep on the floor in my room, and my mom walked in, and this was the scariest one, I think. She walked in, and I was inside of my head, watching her walk in front of me, trying to scream to, like, get her to wake me up, and nothing was coming out.
God, that's like some Freddy Krueger shit.
But then, when I finally woke up later, what I had to do every time was force myself to fall back asleep. Because I knew that I was in the state. I knew that I couldn't move. I knew that I couldn't breathe. And I had to calm myself down, like, in my head. Felt like a coma patient. Literally, like, sitting there going, like, okay, if you just fall back asleep, you'll wake up later. You have to fall back asleep because you're never going to get out of this state unless you fall back asleep to wake up naturally. So, I fell back asleep, and eventually I woke up later, and I went downstairs, and I asked my mom. I was like, did you come in my room while I was asleep? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, did you hear me trying to scream for you? And she went, no, but you were making weird noises while I was in there. And I was like, that happened.
I don't like that.
Yeah, no. Luckily, it's become far less frequent.
I kept having this thing where, like, I would, like, come to, but it was it wasn't sleep paralysis, but it was like I would come to, but then, like, I couldn't keep my eyes open. I would force them open, and it's like they go, and I just kept trying to force my eyes open, and, like, kept trying to stay awake.
Yeah.
And it was like everything was like, it'd be like I could get my eyes open, I would go to move, and then everything was like choppy. It was like super choppy vision, and dude, it was all fucking. I hated all of it. Yeah, it was awful. I fucking hated all of it.
So before we get too far away from it. Let's go back to Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually super mad that it's a prequel.
Why?
Because...
Well, there's nothing left for...
Well, hold on. In my opinion, they should have taken like a more Dune approach with the storytelling. Because if you look at Dune and how the book series is written, the first book has not nothing, but almost nothing to do with the rest of the series. It's like the bloodline is what you're following. But the actual like importance of each book and the story that goes with each book totally changes. And they're also like hundreds and thousands of years apart from each other in each book. The reason I think that would have made more sense for the Hunger Games specifically is because the entire point of the Hunger Games isn't fully revealed until the last book. And what you really understand is that all governments are doomed because Snow was bad, but the lady that tried to overtake everything right after was just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah, she bombed her own people so that she could like make it seem like Snow did it to start more of an uprising.
Yes, and you know and
that's how Prim died, that fucking bitch.
Right, right. So when Katniss kills her and shoots her, at the coronation in front of everyone, I was like, okay, this is the point of Hunger Games, is to show that even in the most removed dystopian future, you get out of one bad circumstance, and as long as there are people still in charge and being oppressive over the people, trying to have a monarchy, you're always going to end up back in a dictatorship. Socialism and communism don't work. And that's effectively what the whole point of Hunger Games is. So what I think is the most interesting story to be told is what comes after that. How do you rebuild a civilization after you realize that all governments, the way that you've known them for hundreds and thousands of years, simply don't function? And now you have to rebuild as a society. But instead what they did was go, let's milk the Snow stuff a little bit more. And that just pisses me off, because I'm way more interested in the philosophy of the universe. Yes.
Leading up to the war that crumbled everything.
Yes.
That would have been.
That would have been really great, but instead they were just like, let's back it up to the very beginning of the Hunger Games crap.
Maybe that'll be the next one.
If there is another one.
Man, we know what they should have done if they really wanted to milk it for everything?
Huh.
Is start a TV show.
Yeah, and just sort of have like
a well-produced TV show, though.
Yeah.
Like an HBO quality show. And yeah, they could have started pre-war, and each season could have been essentially a fucking movie.
Yeah.
They could have started season 1, pre-war.
Yeah.
Season 2 could have been the very first Hunger Games.
And you could have even...
Season 3, so on and so forth.
You could have gone all the way to, like, when Katniss is there and afterwards, because you could have very easily cheated that with just being like, okay, get one of the B actors who was in the Hunger Games movies and just, like, have a stand-in for Katniss so you don't have to pay for Jennifer Lawrence to be there all the time. And just kind of, like, tell that side character story a little bit more, like, chapter to chapter. But this is kind of my problem with, like, these big franchises nowadays, is people like lore and, like, backstory stuff, but it's not in the way that we got it, like, with classic literature. Like, it's not like the Silmarillion for, like, Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. It's not like Dune. It's this sort of, like, well, let's just milk the things that we like a little bit more. It's not like progressing the narrative as an academic structure.
Yeah, because I didn't even know Hunger Games was... Dude, I would have never guessed that they were going to revive that franchise.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed, dude. I haven't heard...
They're doing it, though, with Harry Potter, too.
So what exactly is going on with that? Because Grace and I were talking about, are they just chopping the movies up into a series?
I literally cannot tell. Because what I've seen online is people are speculating that they're just going to remake the movies in a long-format television show with different actors, which I think is, like, the stupidest way.
That's pretty dumb.
Because, like, when you have such iconic actors... You can just start fresh.
You can just start fresh with just a whole new story.
Or, because there's...
At Hogwarts.
There's all... Well, not even just Hogwarts. There's all different magic schools across the world. They built the universe strongly enough that it could take a lot of different turns and twists. But instead of that, they just go, well, people like this one thing, let's just rehash it and make a crappier version of it, but in a television format, because people seem to like that now. It's weird. I don't understand why this is the structure that people are going
Because you get successful TV shows like The Last of Us, and then people see the success of that, and they go, I want some of that.
Yeah, but it's
or
just
they turn,
money grabs. It's not anything good.
They see Game of Thrones, and then they see the Game of Thrones spin-off, and then they see the Lord of the Rings spin-off, and they're like, I want some of that.
Yeah. It's just...
What do I have that I can...
license again?
Yeah. What do I have?
So, with that being said, what...
This has been...
what do you think you would have done?
During the Hunger Games?
Yeah, if you had been chosen, if you had been taken out of the pool.
There's really not much of a choice. You know what I mean? Like, what
I
I fucking fought. I guess.
Yeah.
Well, at first I would try to run, but that's not
really?
Happen. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. If that's like getting drafted, bro. Like, I'm not getting drafted. Let me tell you right now.
Oh yeah, no, me either.
You will find me in Canada, my boy. Like,
find me in a mountain.
Sorry. I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's treason. You would abandon it, bro. That is not my war, dog.
No,
I don't know. I ain't got fuck that, bro. I ain't got no dog in that race, man. I'll find me where the maple trees are.
Yeah, like, no, I agree with that. Completely.
But I mean, are you asking like what my tactic would be?
Yeah, well, strategy. Because obviously you don't have a choice.
Right.
It's a totalitarian government.
There is no running. There's guards. The second you come up on stage,
they're just going to shoot you.
Peacemakers right there. You're already dead.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good with people. I'm a people person.
Yep.
So I think I would definitely snake my way in there. And listen, it's survival of the fittest, this thing. It's survival of the fittest, bro. Yeah, well, I don't... I'm gonna do anything I have to.
Yeah.
You know, I'm definitely gonna weasel my way into some groups. I'm gonna do a whole lot of talking. You know, try to be funny. You know, get people to like me, and then stab them in the back.
There was someone that kind of did that approach.
PETA.
Yeah, PETA did do that.
Well, so PETA did it in a different sense. PETA did it where he was like, no, fuck Katniss. I don't actually like Katniss.
Right.
We did that to survive. I can lead you to her.
Yeah.
Because she was the biggest threat. Plus, during that movie, it was staged. A lot of it was staged.
Right,
there were people that were
because their performance was like a total facade anyways. Well, not for him, but for...
Right. Yeah, I've always had mixed emotions about that whole thing.
Yeah, I just didn't think that Liam...
Hemsworth?
Yeah, was such a great match for...
What was his name? Gabe? Was it Gabe?
Something like that.
Gale?
Gale, that's it. It's Gale. Yep. Of course, I didn't like PETA for her either. I
like him though.
She's a badass. She doesn't need to
have
I think she needs to be tied down to a dude. Also, it just devalues him, whoever it is. It makes him look like a pussy.
That was...
And Gale does look like a pussy for most of the Hunger Games.
He's a simp, bro. He is just
they both
hardcore simp.
Him and PETA. I feel worse for PETA though, because he had to go through all that torture and shit. Yeah. That shit looked nasty.
Yeah, starved him out and shit. Yeah.
He looked gross.
Yeah, he did.
At a certain point.
Thank God I looked it up. It was just CGI.
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't Christian Bale it. Yeah.
Christian Bale would have fully.
So that was the one and only book series that I ever read. I read all the books. Now, I've read other books, obviously. Yeah. But, I didn't read the Harry Potter books. I didn't read the Lord of the Rings books. I didn't read the Twilight books. Nothing like that. But Hunger Games, I read all the books. Loved it. I loved it. So, when they first came out with the movies, I think that's what started my love for Jennifer Lawrence. Bro. I was
See, I've just never thought that she was she's good girl next door type.
Right.
If she was a neighbor, I could imagine hanging out with her a couple of summers. But I would not she's not classically attractive enough for me to be that's my celebrity crush. Never.
You out of your mind?
Huh?
You're out of your mind.
If I'm gonna crush on a celebrity, I want it to be a classy bitch. I feel
who?
Ana de Armas, I really like.
See how hard to argue that one.
Growing up, I really, I had a big crush on Julia Roberts. Huge crush on Julia Roberts, yeah. I think it's just her personality. She seems super fun to be around. She's pretty.
Huh.
Also, like, other than...
Wasn't I expecting that?
Other than my wife, I've generally only dated girls who were, like, my height or a little bit taller, too. So I think that was a factor for Julia Roberts, but...
I don't know why. I was I was half expecting either, like, Scarlett Johansson or Mila Kunis.
Yeah, see, they both seem stuck up. They don't seem fun.
Really? I don't think Mila Kunis seems that way. I mean, she's married to Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Mila Kunis is...
He seems like a fun dude.
Yeah. Nah, she's probably cool. Just not my type, generally. I don't know what it is. I tend to go for, like, just people who want to have fun.
Yeah.
Just really, really, like, bubbly, active people.
Natalie Portman.
I did like Natalie Portman. She's pretty classy.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty good actress.
Yeah, definitely. I think my tactics for the Hunger Games...
I was just about to ask you.
Yeah. So I thought about this a lot. I think, I would try and get a good look right up front at what the weapons are. Because there's a couple of weapons that I feel like I would be better with than others. Like, if I could get a bow and arrow, or like a crossbow, I'd be great.
Crossbow, I'd be great.
Yeah. I did a lot of archery in middle school, part of 4-H club, and I was in a couple archery competitions. Good with a bow.
Yeah.
Melee weapons are difficult. I've got 2 strengths, I think, for, like, the Hunger Games. Can shoot, and I can climb. Which means if I can get into a tall enough tree, and I can kind of camouflage myself up in there.
Katniss your way through it.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's really the only option I have. Because I'm not quick enough to, like, get away from anybody. Depending on who my opponents were, probably bigger people, and I wouldn't necessarily be able to just, like, muscle out.
Hand-to-hand combat them, yeah.
It'd be difficult. Sketchy, at best. And then, I wouldn't necessarily want to pick on anyone, like, super young, like the girl in the first movie that died. Rue, yeah.
That would be the hardest part. I don't want to have to kill innocent people that are just there because they have to be there.
Yeah, no, I would leave those for
Capital
the very
kids?
end. Oh, they're the first.
They train their whole life for it. They do it. Like, they don't give a shit about people, They're to them, it's just sport. Yeah, it's just sport. To everybody else, it's like, fuck, man.
Yeah, like, I gotta die for my town. This sucks.
Coal town. Like,
yeah.
Great. I've been poor my entire life, and now I gotta go fucking go sword fight. Like,
yeah.
That's the scary part about it. Melee stuff is... if I could find some sort of, like, long-range weapon, for sure. I don't think I'm good enough with a bow and arrow. I just don't have enough experience.
Yeah.
I'm a relatively good shot with, like, handguns and with rifles, though. But in the Hunger Games, you don't have guns. You don't have guns. So, if there's a crossbow, I think that would likely be my number one pick.
Do you think there was a crossbow?
Dude, I do not want to get in a fucking sword fight, bro. A real sword fight? You know how scary that would be, dude?
That would be intense.
Because especially, what if the training you're sword fighting against is, like, at least 1.5 times your size? Dude, I do not want to sword fight this guy.
The only thing that you would have in that compared to a bigger person is just quickness and reflexes. Because there is a problem. And you see this played out a lot in fighting games. Like, the big characters are always really slow, but they hit really hard.
Well, they are slower, hit harder. But your number one, what I have found, anybody who has more reach than you do, get in close. If the closer you get to their body, the less control they have over you, unless they fucking bear.
And so I heard that the other day, that for a gun you're supposed to run, and for a knife fight you're supposed to get in as close as possible, because it's really hard for them to maneuver and, like, actually stab, like, once you're in a certain proximity. I know.
Dude,
that's just like a bear, where it's like you gotta go, like, and be bigger than the bear. Like, that sounds way more terrifying to me, because I don't want to have to pretend that I'm bigger than a bear. I'm not. I'm not even close.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
the bear's gonna look at me like, "What are you doing?"
And I feel like fighting animals is scarier than fighting people because like even
pure aggression,
pissed off house cats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've encountered actual mean cats.
Yeah.
And they're hard to get rid of, dude, because they just want to like cling on to you and then bite. Yeah. And when you peel that sucker off, it doesn't matter how far you throw it, dude. It's right back on you in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
bro.
It hurts.
Yeah, dude, it sucks,
like a tornado with fur and claws and teeth, and it's the worst.
It's not fun.
No, it's not fun.
I know. I'm like terrified that little message is gonna pop up at any time. What district do you think you would have been born in? Like, based on your life, what district do you think you'd be born in?
I've always been like blue collar.
That's what I was going to say.
A little bit, maybe, towards the top end of that. So maybe like the district that like works with wood, like I think it's like one of the original districts, like right underneath the Capitol. They're like the woodworkers or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know all the districts.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just going to pull up.
Yeah.
What does each district do?
Might as well. Whatever the woodworking one, though, is. I think that was one of the original ones, but they're, like, still considered, like, second-class citizens compared to the Capitol, but they have a little bit more clout than some of the other ones just because they make a really necessary thing.
Yeah, oh, well, shit. Based on where we're born, damn, they have an actual map of the United States.
That's crazy.
Well,
I was born in D.C., so what's D.C.?
D.C. is District 8.
And what does 8 do?
District 1 is Lower California. Damn, District 1 is huge.
Yo.
That is District 8, right?
I believe that's what it says, yeah.
So, I was born in Tennessee, so I'd be District 11? Dude, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
That's
close to what Katniss's was.
Sucks, dude. Ugh.
Does it say, or does it give a description of the district?
Yeah, so District 1, we don't even need to go over. District 2, located in the Rocky Mountains, largest communities in Pan Am, is known wealthy setting. What do you do, though? Okay, known for masonry and weapon manufacturing.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
3 is televisions, computers, and electronics.
So they're the smart ones.
4 is fishing. 5 is power and electricity. 6 is transportation. It's the hub for transport networking.
That's interesting. It's weird.
District 7 was lumber.
Okay. That's close then.
Joanna. Okay, so Joanna was one of the girls I was talking about. I think Finnick is the dude. District 8 is textiles, like fabrics and shit.
Oh, cool. I would have enjoyed that. I wouldn't have been able to fight if I had grown up being a fashion designer, but
District 9 was grain production.
Great.
District
One step
10,
above bird feed.
Right. District 10 was the livestock industry.
Oh, interesting.
Alright, here it is. District 11 was said to be composed of a vast area, possibly the entire southern region.
Oh, wow.
Agriculture was the main industry.
So you'd have been a farmer.
Land was covered in orchard, crop field, cattle farms. Wow, cool. District 11 was one of the poorest districts.
Well.
All the citizens lived in small shacks.
Shotgun shack.
And then District 12 was like the coal mining and whatnot.
Yeah, that's Katniss.
Yeah.
So a little bit of social stratification in that universe, but pretty much anything underneath the Capitol is just like no one cares about.
Well, District 1 and 2.
Yeah.
District 1 and 2, you're pretty solid, pretty safe.
Yeah.
So, not that bad.
Not that bad. So what do you think is like... What do you think makes the Hunger Games so fun?
To watch?
Well, just in general, because people really enjoy just like sort of the universe. And I do too. It's just like, it's hard to quantify what makes it so special, because that was, I mean, even more so than Twilight, I feel like, because it wasn't just like a young teenage girl thing. It was sort of like everyone, just like the Hunger Games. Well, everyone was like playing that at recess, like.
Yeah. Other than mass popularity due to, the book selling super well, much like Harry Potter. Granted, you can kind of see the allure towards Harry Potter. I don't know, man. I think it's kind of like if you take it back to the basics, everybody loves a hero story, and especially a hero that's willing to rebel against a corrupt government.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how big the Hunger Games was in other places, but I mean, you gotta think about it, man. This is America. We literally were founded based on rebelling against a corrupt government.
Yeah.
So
that's our whole deal.
I mean, it's definitely kind of like an empowering thing, and then you had like a strong female lead who really didn't there wasn't an equal male figure that overshadowed Katniss. You know what I mean? Like, it was like a very strong female lead.
It's true.
And I mean, it is interesting to think about. I think people are drawn to dystopian type movies, or like post-apocalyptic, like Mad Max, or like Waterworld.
Funny how the Uncanny Valley doesn't enter into that equation, because I think one of the reasons people like it is it's just so familiar, but it's like familiar with a challenge almost, if that makes sense.
Well, and it kind of hits home for a lot of people, I feel, because there's a large majority of people that feel like the world is controlled by 1%. Yeah. 1% of the population. District 1.
Yeah.
Is a very. I mean, it's a large area. District 1, based on the map at least.
Yeah.
But it's like unachievable unless you're born there.
Right.
You have to be born into District 1. Otherwise, like, how are you going to get there?
You're never going
to.
Yeah. Unless you win the Hunger Games.
Unless you win the Hunger Games.
Which is the whole point of the movie, I guess.
So I think a lot of people are just kind of drawn to that. Like, plus there's like a good amount of action. Yeah. It's a good amount of story. Yeah. It's a good balance between the two.
It is a good balance.
There is some humor here and there, just because Katniss is a smartass, and then you've got. Who did Woody Harrelson play? Haymitch.
Oh yeah, Haymitch. Yeah, he's great.
Great character.
Love that character.
So. I don't know. There's a lot of really likable qualities about it.
There are.
I think she's just a wonderful actress, though. I love Jennifer Lawrence. Silver Linings Playbook, great movie.
She did perfect for Katniss. Well, before we have another technical issue.
Go ahead and wrap this one up.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it'll be the shortest Just After Midnight episode to date.
You know what? That's okay, too.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Well, you got anything else to elaborate on before we...
I don't think I did.
Okay. Well, this has been
the
Just After Midnight
podcast.
Beautiful. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
After midnight.